Good morning. Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. Grid Tactical Tuesday is where I sit down every week with an incredible agent from around the country to talk about the tactics that they are using to take business right now, today. All right, we're muting Paula. All right, what are they doing right now to take business, to grow their business? And today I am joined by Misha Honoré. Misha is a realtor in Maryland. She is a member of EXP Young Professionals. She leads the state chapter there. EXP Young Professionals is a group of over 20,000 agents, so great leadership there. She's also a member of EXP Nest, which is a community for parents and guardians and would-be parents. And Misha's got a really fascinating background that we were talking about um, in as a certified life coach in the wellness space. And so I'm really excited to have Misha here. Lauren and Misha were just talking. She was really stoked that Misha was joining us this morning. All right, Misha. Good morning. How are you this morning?
Good morning, guys. I am very grateful and thankful to be here. I'm always honored when I get to share space with other incredible individuals who are also doing incredible work, incredible impact. So thank you for having me on your Tactical Tuesday. I'm hoping that you guys leave inspired. I'm hoping that you guys leave with some good insights on Pinterest today, because I do think it's a very underutilized platform for real estate. And I'm really excited to be able to share what I know with you guys.
I'm curious, who's got a win this morning? Who's celebrating something? Who's got something, great going on? Misha was just talking about a win of hers, moving into a new space, having the power of choice, going from right, stability to success, and now I have more options. I can do what I want. Who's got a win they're celebrating today? I see some smiling faces. I'm not
It's a
afraid to call
beautiful
them.
day in Virginia. That's a win. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Should be legal. I did a post. It should be illegal to be working indoors today in Virginia.
That's how I've been feeling in Tennessee. That is how I've been feeling here in the mountains. There are days when I'm like, this makes no sense. I should not be inside. Why am I on a Zoom meeting? Yeah, fantastic. I love it. I love it. Glad to see you here, Rob. All right. Cool. Misha, we ready to kick this thing off? Before we jump into slides or anything, like let's just give a little background. I always like to give a little context on who we're listening to, why we're listening to. Um, when did you get into real estate? Why did you get into real estate?
So I started my real estate journey about going in 2.5 years ago. So I'm fairly new, I guess. And honestly, I got into real estate from the background of having a personal issue. So I went through a divorce. I was experiencing domestic violence and I needed to rehouse me and my girls. I was so frustrated with what it looks like to rebuild without resources. And I'm very transparent in sharing this because I do believe the story is so powerful. I went from being a homemaker, and when I left that relationship, I had nothing. And so trying to find housing was almost impossible for me and my three children. And I was so frustrated with it that I had this dream of being able to start a community or some sort of housing where I could help women who were also rehousing who needed that resource. And so I really went into real estate with the investor mindset that I wanted to be able to have rentals, short-term rentals, things like that. And so I bought the course, thought that I was just learning for some future, vision I had. But when I got the course, I ended up loving it. And then next thing you know, 30 days later, I have my real estate license and it like clicked to me in an instant of like, oh, wow, wait a minute. This is actually a career. I could actually make real money here and I can really start to get back on my feet and I could really change my life and change my girl's life. And so 2.5 years later, here I am. I'm very proud of what I've built with my children, with my business, with my coaching. And I have just really fallen in love with this space of real estate, but it came from a hardship.
Mm-hmm. No, I,
Yeah.
I think that's an incredible story. And I love that for a couple reasons. One, Grid is an investing network. We teach people to invest in real estate, but the ethos is a little different than I hear out there, right? It is grow your database, relationships transform lives, invest in people, develop talent, and create wealth. Like, right? And I think you spoke to it. When I have a vision, when I've got a purpose on why I'm doing this, and it came from a place of like
Mhm,
creating housing, like that is not going to be
mhm,
solved by on a national scale. There is no government program that could ever solve all of our housing needs or fill all the gaps. We have a market
mhm.
system, and so it rewards people like you. Or hey, I'm going to get in there, and I am going to take something that hasn't been loved. I'm going to fix it up, and I'm going to provide, housing to people that might need options. It's no surprise you've kept on doing that. What does the business look like today? Where are you at on your journey?
Where I am today, I would say this year I am leaning more into my transactions, but for the past year, I really have used my background as a consultant, as a coach, um, and as an entrepreneur, and I've really been pouring into other agents. I have a background, like I said, I'm a certified life coach. I've run my own business, my own company for 10 years. I have branding and marketing psychology background, and I took all of that into the space of real estate. And I really have always loved pouring into others. And from like day one of getting over to EXP, it just felt like there were all these opportunities to share my knowledge, to share my heart with other agents. And so where I am now in my business is I've been building communities, I've been pouring into other agents. It's a lot of coaching and a lot of interviews like this where I'm teaching marketing tactics, I'm teaching branding tactics, I'm teaching well-being, how to balance your life, balance your career, mindset shifts. I've really been enjoying the coaching space, but this year as a personal goal, I'm really looking to take my transactions up. So that's where I am. I'm shifting. I'm still going to do coaching and things. That's just a part of who I am. It just lights me up. I'm passionate about it. But
Mhm.
definitely this year, I was like, you know what? No, I want to turn up the heat on my transaction side, because just as much as I want to pour into others, I want to hit some of my goals too. So I would love to icon. That's a personal goal of mine. That's something that I got my eyes
Incredible.
on. So that's what I'm building. That's where I'm at.
No, I love it. In our world, we talked about this off. We have the 7 levels of freedom. Level one, energy, identity, mindset. I love to share the anecdote. Rob came to speak one time. We did like a 3 hour class, and there was like a little lunch break in the middle. And we were going to lunch, and Rob was still talking about level one. And I was like, in my head, like the internal MC in me was like panicking. And he's like, no, man, the rest of it's like this is the most important thing. This takes the most time is energy, identity, mindset. And what we're talking about today is a level two conversation. How do I zone a market? Zero in on, my avatar, own the mind share, right? Network
Yep.
within that mind share, and then expand my influence there and earn, we call it earn
Mhm.
the heart share. Heart share leads to mind share, leads to market share, right? And so
Yeah.
let's get into it. Anybody excited to talk about Pinterest? Anybody on the call use Pinterest? Yes, raise
Even
hands.
just in your personal life, scrolling.
I see. Okay, so Kimmy and Brooke use Pinterest in your personal life. I've used it in my years ago. I've not been on there since before COVID. Fantastic. Why is Pinterest like a little different than you might think? Like what's I got excited when you started talking to me. I realized I've been looking at it entirely the wrong way.
Yeah. So Pinterest is a little different because a lot of times people identify Pinterest as a social media platform, and it is not. It is a search engine. What's the difference there? When we think of Instagram, when we think of TikTok, the word social, that's interaction, right, with others. Whereas when we look at Google, when we look at Pinterest, we're not getting on there to be social. We're getting on there to seek information. And so, how do you connect with the clients that are seeking information about home buying, investing, your local market, right? So, I live near a beach town, Ocean City, Maryland. The things that my clients are searching for, my leads are searching for on a platform like Pinterest is going to be, you know, top 10 things to do in Ocean City, Maryland for the summer, best restaurants to eat at in Ocean City, Maryland for the summer, right? Like top neighborhoods in Maryland. If I'm relocating to Maryland, you know, what are the best neighborhoods in Maryland to live in for children? And children are on my brain because I'm a mom of three. So that's my examples, right? But you can apply it where it fits to you, right? And so when we look at it from that lens, what are people searching in for your market where you can provide a value add, like a blog, a newsletter, a link, a resource guide that would take your clients off the Pinterest platform, have them clicking on a piece of content that leads back to you, where then you can position yourself as the go-to expert for that thing. That thing is going to be your local market.
And so that's what we call that in general marketing, a lead magnet. What is
Yes,
something of value that's going to be so compelling that it is going to turn this one-way interaction into a two-way conversation? No, I love that.
exactly.
Great. And I love the word you used evergreen. I think I was using the word durable, which I think I got from you of I can create something that is not
Yes.
ephemeral. It's not like a one-off content. I don't have to go viral. I can just consistently add value and I build something over time that actually I can monetize.
Correct. From that one piece of content one time. When we're looking at other platforms, you know, like Instagram or YouTube, and guys, hear me correctly, Instagram and YouTube are also powerhouses in their own rights for what they do, right? And so it's not a either or, it's a and. You know, how can we utilize this with what you're already marketing, what you're already doing? And so when we talk about evergreen marketing, when it comes to Pinterest, when it comes to searchable things, when you look at something like Instagram, you're going to post, but if you don't consistently post, those views go down, right? Like it's something that you have to like keep pouring into. You have to keep putting gas in the engine for it to keep going. Whereas with Pinterest, you create one resource one time and it's going to live there. So anytime someone is searching those keywords, that one piece of content is going to continue pinging. And so that can mean that, you know, maybe this year you go viral Pinterest wise, where you're having a ton of clicks because for whatever reason, it's a hot topic this year, right? Like if like again, if we're talking about traveling and for whatever reason, like for example, Berlin, Maryland is 30 minutes from me. It is voted America's coolest small town. That is something that's going to continue to ping, right? And so if I'm continuously making content about Berlin and it being America's coolest small town, you know, there's just different keywords that's going to consistently keep going up from that one piece of content. That's what we call evergreen. You make it once and it lives there. It's very similar to what we saw before socials, where blogging was a big thing. And I do believe a lot of blogging is coming back. We could talk about Substack. We could talk about the readers of the world, right? People are
Yes.
not only searching content from socials. And this goes into something else that I talk about. When you are building your own personal brand, when you are really standing in your authority, you have to find your people where you want to meet them. If you're an avid reader, if you're more introverted, you're more shy, the answer isn't, oh my God, I have to completely like step out of my comfort zone and now become a YouTube star. No, where do you find the other people who are just like you, right? So that might be Substack, that might be Pinterest, because Pinterest doesn't require you to be camera forward, just requires you to create some graphics and have really good clickable links that's going to take you somewhere, take you off the platform. The goal of Pinterest is to get people off the platform. They do not stay on Pinterest. They're going to go from Pinterest to the clickable link. And a very key thing about Pinterest is you don't want to send your traffic to something that they have to necessarily pay for, unless if you're doing affiliate marketing or digital ads, which is something else we can talk about. But when we're talking about generating leads for your real estate business, we're not wanting to send your client directly to, okay, now pay $5 for this thing. You
Mhm.
haven't built the relationship. What we want to do is we want to nurture them. We want to get them in a lead funnel. We want to get them in a newsletter. We want to get them to a landing page. We want them to get into our universe where we can nurture them and convert them. That's the goal of Pinterest.
I love this. Do you want to pull up your presentation? I think we gave some
We
context. I
went
think
over the presentation, but sure,
we can go through a little bit. Some people are my
we can
visual
click.
learners.
Yeah,
And
let's click through it really quick.
what you just talked about is our four C's. that L Boogie Lauren Hammond teaches, right? Is how do I create content that creates conversations, that leads to a connection, right? That converts to a
Yes.
contract or to a signed agreement, right? And so we're gonna go. I think yeah, we hit it, and there's some things I think that we can dive into, getting deep and tactical. I love this. So
Yes.
um,
All right, let's get into it then. Can you guys see my screen all
yes,
right? I can click
I
through it. All
do.
right, let's
I
go.
do. You look
Um,
pensive and glamorous. I like it.
Thank you. So, running through the quick facts about me, they're my babies. Like we said, I'm Maryland State Leader for EXP Young Professionals. I just recently became the Director of Member Wellbeing with EXP Nest. I'm very passionate about families, about women, about making impact. My background is in marketing and sales psychology and branding. I am a mindset and embodiment coach. I'm a certified spiritual life coach by practice. If anyone's familiar with what a doula is, I'm also a doula, a birth and postpartum doula, and a women's empowerment speaker. I've done this work for about going on maybe 12 or 13 years. And like I said, I am newer to real estate, but I am not new to impact entrepreneurship and really making sure that the people around me are loved, seen, and served. That is my mission. Okay. So like let's dive into it. Why does Pinterest matter? Like I said, I think we went over a lot of this stuff, but for those of us who are visual learners and need to see it, Pinterest is not social media. We are not going here to be social. We are going here to drive traffic. It is a search engine. People are coming here to plan their futures. They're making life decisions. They're wanting to understand how to buy a home. What is a mortgage rate? How do I prepare my home for selling? What are the best neighborhoods in Maryland to move to? Activities for my kids in Berlin, Maryland. These are the searchable things that we are looking for when we are on Pinterest, specifically when it comes to real estate. Now, there is a whole other side of Pinterest where, like I said, there's digital marketing, there's affiliate marketing that we can get into. That's expanding your brand, right? Like, so now I'm an agent and people are maybe face forward with me on Instagram, but now they want to know where I got my shirt from. So now I can link that and now I can make some passive income from these kinds of things too. It's a whole separate presentation, but just put it in your mind that this thing of Pinterest can be used for multiple things, multiple uses. And so that really goes into, like I said, really building and scaling your personal brand and how to optimize that for yourself. The Pinterest user is a planner. They are searching for information, and that's key here. So where are realtors really missing this opportunity? A lot of times we are focused on posting our listings. We're focused on engagement. Again, that social aspect of things. But buyers, when they're serious about making a purchase, when you're serious about selling your house, the first thing you want is information, right? And a lot of times their first thought isn't necessarily, well, who's the realtor that I go to figure this out? No, they're going to search it. They're going to get on Google. They're going to find the information, right? And so we want to make sure that we're catching them when they're researching what cities to relocate to. Maybe they have to go somewhere for a job, or they live on the West Coast, and they're like, I want to be on the East Coast now for whatever the reason. I've had clients that are relocating because their kids are going to college, and so now they're moving wherever the kid is going to college at, right? And so we want to make sure that we're catching them where they are and where they're searching neighborhoods, they're shopping with links, they're researching cities. These are the things that Pinterest users are looking for.
Let's double
And so
click
how,
this because if I may, what you're
yeah,
saying, you said two different things, and I love this. We're talking back about the
yeah,
Pinterest user, and I just want to contextualize, share what Misha is saying. Obviously, one, yes, is 100% true. It's a very accurate, she's an expert on Pinterest, but it's also what we're seeing in our data. If you look at the most recent NAR
yes.
data, right, when it talks about search and how people are selecting their agent, it's still the same thing that 60% of people are going with the first agent they talk to. The one big thing that jumped out at me, though, is the majority of those people are researching their realtor online before they engage with them. They are building a relationship with them, a parasocial relationship before I reach out to Misha, right? And I'm saying, so
Mhm.
they're coming for that, they're searching for that information. And the other thing you mentioned, I thought was fantastic, I might hit it again, is yes, when we're having these AI conversations, Misha, separately, they're hitting the same exact thing. Like we're going back to where we were.
Hmm.
Rob had built out Rest and Digs, hyper local video content, blog content, networking with local businesses. And I'm seeing this again when I talk to people, whether it's YouTube or whether it's like trying to plan your business for agentic AI. They're going back to blogs or they're going to YouTube to provide that content that can be
Yep.
indexed again by these search engine. Pinterest is another search engine. ChatGPT, Perplex, those are all becoming our de facto search engines. So yeah, I love
Yep.
what you're saying here. It really makes a ton of sense for the market of the moment. And
Yes.
Rob had a great question. We'll come to this I think we'll have some time to hit this in a minute. It's a great question. All right. So yes, what's next, Misha? So people are,
Yeah. So we kind of went over this, but how does Pinterest work, right? So one, users are searching keywords. Your keyword more than likely is going to be your hyperlocal city or state, right? For me, I cover the state of Maryland. I have key players in each of the different counties where if I need to refer out, I will. And so I sometimes build my content around Maryland as a state, relocating to Maryland, the state, and then I get super hyper local, Berlin, Maryland, Ocean City, Maryland, Salisbury, Maryland, the Eastern Shore of Maryland. And then we can and then even if you want to get into the beaches, like I said, I live in a beach town, which is right there near also Delaware, Rehoboth Beach. And so vacationers, I'm really thinking about what are people, even if they're not thinking about buying and selling, what is it that they would be searching that I can get in front of them and I can build that relationship and I can be a resource because at some point in time, someone is going to transact, whether it's them, their, associates, their friends. It's about building the relationship. And if I can get in front of them, then more than likely I will have a client at some point in time. Right. And so
Mhm.
Pinterest is going to show relevant pins. If I go on there and I put in Ocean City, Maryland, Pinterest is going to show me relevant pins to Ocean City, Maryland, right? And so that's how it works. Again, reminding yourself that this is a search engine. So what are the keywords that someone is going to put into Pinterest that is then going to have my pin pop up for them to see it and go, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Top things to do with families in Ocean City, Maryland. I want to click that. Well, now they've clicked it. It's taken them to whatever my lead magnet is, resource guide, my website. It has to make sense, right? We don't want to drive traffic to something that's too vague because again, they're searching for something. They're looking for something for you. So you don't want to just send them to your homepage website, right? Because now you've lost what it is they're looking for. You want them to go directly to the thing that they need to download to get the information, the blog post where they can read more, and then maybe you can put different things in there to track who's clicking, who's doing what, who's interacting. Right. You can, direct it to a Loom video if that's your style, right? Where maybe you're talking about the thing. Hey, this is my top 10, da, 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 you know, email me here or click here and you can actually download the guide. So now you're hitting them twice. You're getting in front of them, you're introducing them with your face, and then they're actually downloading the guide. Users are either going to click or save or both, right? They're going to get the information right then and there. They're going to save it, stockpile it, or they're going to come back to it later. But that's the key. You want them to do that. You want them to click, you want them to save, you want them to open. Pins drive traffic to websites. It has to go to a landing page, but the landing page that you're sending them to, it has to make sense. And a key thing about Pinterest is every individual pin is going to link them to a individual landing page. So what that means is it's not like Instagram where you have a link in bio and now everyone's going to this one link. No, on my one Pinterest platform, I can have a pin that's sending you to this page, a pin that's sending you to this page, a pin that's sending you to this page. It's very specific on the topic or the pin itself. Why does this work? Because people are actively planning. Like I said, this is searchable content. They're getting questions answered. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but are we getting it, guys? Like, why does this work? It works because I'm going to search what I'm looking for. I'm going to click the pin that makes sense to answer the question that I have. And then I'm going to go to whatever pops up and I'm going to get the information that I'm looking for.
can we talk about the backstory of Pinterest if you haven't seen it before? Because I think if you haven't seen it, you might not have context of like, yes, it's a search engine, but what were you using it for when you first got started? Like what I remember seeing it, and it was like design stuff. It was like
Yeah,
making boards, vacation
yeah.
ideas, or birthday party. Oh man, that's a cute. I'm gonna save that craft or that
Mm-hmm.
background or these
Yep.
fixtures or something, like a mood board. What were you using
Yep.
it for?
Yep. So same. I used to use it a lot of times for like aesthetic planning, so vision boards like you said, but I also searching whatever I was searching, I would see different pins that had words and then it would be like an interesting topic and so then I'd click on it myself.
Yep.
Um Pinterest as a platform, I believe, has been pretty consistent. The evolution of Pinterest, I would say maybe the newer way of Pinterest now is that you do see like a lot of short video clips. Like instead of clicking a picture, you might see a little video. But for the most part, that's not really how Pinterest is powered. So when we think about like Canva designs, like really kind of blank designs of just like words. Here's what you click on. Here's how you're going to get the information. The only
Yep.
time you really see the videos is when you're looking at like, okay, I'm searching, you know, wedding outfits. So now you're going to see the people who have on like certain outfits and then but what's going to happen? You're going to click on that page, you're going to see their video. It's going to either take you to their TikTok, it's going to take you to you know, their Amazon store, right? But again, it's taking you off the platform into that creator's universe, whatever that creator's using it for, right? And so
I love it.
that's
Rob,
your digital marketing.
makes perfect sense. Rob, what was your question?
My question is, if you have all of these pins, are you driving them back to one master site with lots of pages where all of those pins then are feeding the information the promise that you made in the original image? Does that make sense?
Yes,
Oh,
it makes
did I
sense,
lose
but
everybody?
no. So it's very individualistic. Your one pin is going to send them to one landing page, one website. There's no like central space. Every time I click on a pin, it's going to take me somewhere. Now, do you want to make multiple pins? You can have 5 pins that all drive to the same website, sure. But every time you make a pin, you are going to insert your hyperlink. And so you get to choose where it's sending that hyperlink.
Got you.
That's
So you're
Did I
cool.
answer
saying,
that?
And guys, it's never been easier to create. Yeah, it's never been easier to create these pages now with Lovable and the different tools that are out there. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So the 3 types of content that realtors should use on Pinterest: local lifestyle content, 100%. So again, living in Berlin, Maryland, best neighborhoods in Salisbury, things to do in Ocean City, moving to the Eastern Shore, best coffee shops in your town. This is the stuff that people are looking for because they don't just buy homes, right? They want to look at the location. They want to understand the lifestyle. That's where you come in. We're not plugging them to like book a consult. No, we're just feeding them information. We're getting them in our pipeline, right? Hey, you download my best coffee shop, you know, have you seen this one? Or, oh, there's also a newer coffee shop that, you know, just came into town that I haven't got a chance to add this to. I seen you were interested in this. Make the connection. Or if anything, like I said, get their information, put them in your pipeline, put them in your newsletter where you're constantly now going to be popping up in front of them. Local lifestyle content. The next is home inspiration content. And this is what we were just talking about, right? Going back to the earlier days of Pinterest, people are searching coastal kitchen ideas, luxury primary bathroom. Guess what, guys? You can make a blog about this stuff if you wanted to and have the pictures in there. Now, again, you're driving traffic to your website. Have you partnered with your stager, your interior designer? This is where local network is in play. If you have a client that's searching, like, I don't know, how to fix my bathroom, and so now you have a blog, and then you're like, hey, if you want a contact sheet of, you know, local plumbers in the area, you know, just fill out this contact form, right? So this is where a lot of networking is also going to come in play. You have to know who are your key players in your local market, right? This is where these connections are coming from. Barn dominiums are huge out here now. That's like a literally like a new hype word for out here. Another one is like multi-generational homes. This is looking at the wave of like what's common, what are people looking for right now, and putting yourself in front of them, giving them that information. Pinterest was built for inspiration. And so these pins attract people who are dreaming about their future. You can use your listing photos. So, Bold Trail, KV Core, there's a feature where you can take your listing and upload it directly to Pinterest. You've got a really nice listing in, say, Berlin, Maryland. Okay, now we can put that on Pinterest. Someone's searching coastal homes, your listing comes up. Again, you're driving them into your pipeline. New construction homes, design inspiration. You could even get down to like color inspiration. 2026 top colors for your living room, colors for your kitchen, home prep, staging. Think of all of these things. The last one
Hmm.
that we should be using is going to be your educational content, right? This is where your authority comes into place. Educational real estate content, steps to buying a home. What is a mortgage? What credit score do I need? New construction homes versus resale homes. What's the difference? What to know before moving to Maryland? First time home buyer tips. How much house can I afford? Right? These are going to be your educational real estate content that you can also repurpose on Pinterest. And mind you, you can create 5 different graphics, 10 different graphics. There's 10 different pins, but it's all going to lead to the same one blog. And we're not doing this multiple times, right? Like you can create that one blog post, batch create 20 pins or 20 Canva graphics, and it's going to keep driving traffic to that one landing page, that one piece of content that you created. And then once you put them out there, you only need to do it once. Now, of course, you're going to want to keep creating stuff, but you don't have to.
So we've talked about this before, that you always want to talk to a specific audience, but maybe I,
Hmm.
I could be intentional about, man, I've got some information that is specifically, it might be relevant to more than one demographic in my audience, but man, I'm going to narrow down my pin to hit that same thing. So for example, your colors one, right? Man, that's relevant. That's relevant to the new parent that is, picking nursery colors in the house. It's relevant to my first time buyer. It is relevant to my investor. Like I might want to position all of those. Like what are the best colors for it could be the same exact information,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
And I can even say whether you're an investor, or, I could have sections in the blog that talk about why that matters. Hey, if you're an investor, like picking colors of the moment, here's the data we know on blah, blah, blah. How does that affect resale? Whatever. I love that. Yeah.
Yes. And so when we talk about the Pinterest lead funnel, simplifying this, how does Pinterest generate these leads? What is the skeleton, the blueprint? What is happening here? Pinterest, you create the pin. They are going to click that pin. It's going to drive traffic to a website or a landing page or a download. And that is going to be where you have your inquiry or your lead. And this is where you're going to nurture them. That's the funnel. Pin, they're going to click it. They're going to go to the landing page. You have your client, right? So example, the pin is moving to Berlin, Maryland. This is going to lead to a blog post, a relocation guide, a home search, a buyer consultation, something that's going to put them in your pipeline.
And
The
and
only thing
y'all,
I go ahead.
if you weren't in the industry, like for 20 years, like, Rob and I, 17, 15 years, people built empires off of blogs,
Yes.
off of creating hyperlocal content, off of it's the equivalent now of the guy you watch with the big YouTube following, like Ken Posick or something. People were doing this on Active Rain. I remember doing blog posts in 2007 when I was working for a realtor, like of just every week building the content, and we were consistently generating business off of this. Like this stuff, I love it. It's marketing 101.
Yes.
We just discovered a whole new way to get in front of it, a direct way that's searchable, much easier, much
Yes.
more direct.
And
And yeah,
Let me tell you guys, the modern day blog is Substack. Get on Substack. You do not need to build out a full website of a blog if you don't want to. Literally, your Substack can be that. It's super user friendly. The interface is easy. You can upload videos on there if you want to even start a podcast. Like I feel like I need to do a whole talk on Substack, but
You do.
Substack
People aren't.
is like Substack is where we're going next. It's super easy. That's
Substack
the
has
modern day
transformed
blog.
journalism, like transformed modern
Yes,
journalism.
Substack is
Like
crazy. Yes.
if you're not on Substack,
You,
just as an American with an interest in civics, get on there. You can go find
mhm.
people that you used to be like seeing some of the same faces. Oh man, that guy used to report in the New York Times or the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal or whatever, I can follow that person directly. And I found it's tremendous. There's a couple people I follow on there where I'm like, yep, the signal to noise is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Cherie, you had a
If
question
you've
for
been,
us.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Misha.
Yeah. I was hoping you could do like a 3-minute overview of Substack because I've heard about it, but I don't know much about it. From a business point of view, is it something where we could take the pins that you're talking about and drive them to a specific landing page on Substack? Also,
Mhm.
like the economics of it, like is
Yeah.
there like a payment? Do people have to pay? Because all I've heard is like Substack, join my Substack and pay me X number of dollars a month in
So
content.
from
So, yeah.
let's break this down in two different windows of looking at this really quick, right? Um, as a consumer, when you're looking at it and someone's telling you to go to their Substack, you read a little bit, and then there's a paywall, is what we call that in marketing, right? You hit the paywall to get the good stuff. You got to either like join, pay the $5, whatever the case may be. Um, Again, this is how we scale. This is how we grow this passive income. This is how we monetize our personal brand and monetize our knowledge. And so from a business standpoint, it's like, yeah, we're going to give you the freebie information, but the point is to then get you to join my community or to get you to pay for the good stuff. This is how I'm going to make money. I have been following some really good entrepreneurs that are doing at least 50, 100K on Substack in months because people will pay for valuable information, right? Um, is there free things on Substack as well? Yes. There's free information. There's all kinds of blog posts and things like that. Um, Substack in itself it's a multi-use platform. You can do a free newsletter, you could do a paid newsletter, you could do a paid community. You can kind of create your own hub on Substack. But the meat and potatoes of the platform is writing. It started as a blog and writing platform. People are now adding their short clips, they're adding their podcast, but staying true to the nature of what Substack was created for. It is created for writing. So now we went from needing to create like a Squarespace or something or a WordPress to create a full blog and website to now I can create a Substack and I can almost like make a post with my blog or with my article. They're more so articles and send people to that specific article. Am I answering you?
Yes. So
Okay.
I wanted to know from our point of view. Like, for example, I don't want to charge people to read my content, but I would
Mhm.
like to grow it as a community
Yes.
or at least exchange their information with,
Mhm.
like you were saying, here's
You
this
can.
download. Yes. But I was
Yeah.
wondering about that because I had only heard of people who were using Substack as a
Charging.
method of charging
Yeah.
people.
So
So, but you didn't answer my question with regards to that.
yeah, that's totally up to you. And it can be by post. Like for me, some of my newsletter things are going to be paid. content, and then there are other things that are just going to be nurturing content. So that's where we really get into, again, like the psychology of what you're building and what the funnel looks like. You're going to have some low hanging fruit just to get people invested, right? But then eventually that's sales. You're going to upsell them, right? You're going to want to keep them coming. If you're looking to monetize Substack, you don't have to use Substack to monetize it. You know what I mean? So like, again, this really comes down to personal brand strategy and really understanding who you're talking to, why you're doing what you're doing. So like, can you monetize this thing? Heck yeah. This is where we're talking about growing your real estate business beyond your transactions. When we're using platforms like Substack and newsletters, we're no longer just looking at this from an agent perspective. I'm now taking my agent hat off and now I'm Misha Honoré, the coach, the mentor, right? And so people are going to pay me for valuable information. They're going to pay me for coaching. They're going to pay me for my mind. And so now I'm putting them into another passive funnel of passive income for myself. This is where we're generating that income. But I wouldn't charge somebody for information that's meant to be a nurturing piece of content, because those pieces of content, I'm just looking for your information. I need your email, I need your phone number, I need your name, I need a way to contact you so I can nurture you before I start trying to convert you into a sale.
Love it. And
Yeah.
here's what I pulled up Substack because I wanted you to see this. I think this is from the bloggers section. I went into the start this thing. I don't have to understand any of the back end. Like Substack is both it is the blog host, but I can email everyone out on my mailing list at the
Yep.
same time that I create it. I can create a paywall behind it. So I'm Misha and you're on here and all my information is free. And oh, by the way, behind the paywall is my coaching community for $5 a
Mm-hmm.
month if you want my agent stuff, like my complete guide, whatever, my breakdowns. I could do that too
Yep.
in the same ecosystem. And if you get on there and you see it, it's the same as anything else. It's not that intrusive, whether you use Patreon or something else, or there's lots of subscriber provided models. But yeah, Substack can be really powerful. Madison, what's your question?
Hi, question. I'm so sorry if you already answered this, but I heard you say that you're taking them from Pinterest to your tool to your Substack. My question is, we're trying to turn this into a lead generation tool. What is your favorite landing page that you use to, enter your email to get this thing so that you're capturing, like I know some CRMs have landing pages and then they take you to the thing that you want to go. How do you make that not clunky?
So I like to drive traffic directly to why am I having a brain fart? Not Linktree. Oh my God, what am I thinking of? Not Linktree. What's the other thing? What's the link in bio? Um,
There's
oh
another
my God.
provider, like a link in bio provider. Is it,
Yeah, not
is it a
Linktree.
visual one?
ManyChat?
No. Stand store. Oh my God. There we
Fan
go.
store.
I couldn't get that out. Stand store. So Stand store is a really great host feature because you can basically send people and each pin is going to send them to a specific link, right? So we're not trying to mass drive traffic to one homepage. That's not going to capture people, right? And maybe if you have an educational piece of content and you're teaching them about the steps to buy a home, right? And so then in that blog post or in that host, you're going to end with and maybe I can pull mine up too, but
Yeah,
you're
you
going
know,
to end with you're going to end with you know for free buyer consultation, enter your information here. But let me see if I can show you guys this really quick. But to answer your question, I use Stand Store to drive traffic to individual things. So maybe that's a home analysis, a free buyer consultation, a link to my calendar. But for the most part, I use StanStore where you can then download whatever thing you're looking to download. So let's say you're on Pinterest, you want to download my top 5 vacations in Ocean City, Maryland. It's going to take you to the StanStore page where you can download it. And it's going to say, hey, get your free download. Tell me where to send it. Put it in your name and email address and a phone number, and then they're going to put that in, and then the free download is going to pop up. They're going to get the free download. I'm going to get their information.
Okay, and where does the information go? Does it stay in Stan Store and then you go in there and get it, or does it link to like a contact book of some sort?
However you want to set it up. So yes, it can
Okay.
stay in StanStore, right? But you can also do things like Zapier, where you can basically plug in different processes to send it to wherever you want it to go. We're getting into more automation talk now, right?
Yes.
Like how to automate your, yeah. So it just depends on where you want to drive your traffic. So yes, it's going to live in StanStore. You're going to see their emails. You're going to see all the things. But again, once someone downloads, and this is so multi-layered, once someone downloads your freebie, you should have them set up in a newsletter funnel, right? So now
Okay.
you downloaded the freebie, there should be a follow-up email. And then from that follow-up email, we're going to talk about something else. And we're going to take them on this kind of client journey, which maybe by 4 emails in, I'm now going to ask them to book a call with me or to purchase something. So now we're talking about email marketing and what that pipeline really looks like. So this is very multi-layered when it
Yeah.
comes to marketing, right? Like, and I think that's something to understand for agents is I don't want you guys to have like the pressure of like all of these things because a lot of what I'm talking about is marketing, is branding. That's a whole separate topic than you know in your contracts, right? Like,
Right.
but ultimately this is where you start to hire out. This is where you start to hire coaches and people who can set up these implementations or you YouTube university it. You can do it yourself. These interfaces are fairly straightforward. It's not impossible for you to do it. Time consuming, yes, but this is where we can talk about getting a copywriter, right? To do your email marketing. You can talk about even a VA that maybe can set up your funnels for you or get on Fiverr. But there's a process after someone downloads something from you, and you have to kind of map out where you want that client to go and what that's going to look like because you don't want it to just end at book a consult with me because what if they don't? Right. So now
Exactly.
how do we continue to nurture them? That's where your email newsletter is going to come in. That's where that marketing funnel is going to come in. It's a second layer to all of this. But it can get really in depth. So, to answer your question, where are people going to go? Totally up to you. You have to build that funnel out for yourself and decide how am I going to nurture them? What stage in my process, am I going to offer this thing? Sometimes you can just do email and name. I like to do email, name, and phone number. People give me botch phone numbers all the time. It is what it is. Charge it to the game. But I try to get a phone number from people. But you can set it up however you like.
That's so
Let's
helpful. Thank you.
let's
Of
talk
course.
about the cycle of email marketing, right?
Yes.
People start searching 18 months. Again, NAR, go to look at demographic data. Let's start there. Now ChatGPT makes this easier, but just check your sources. Like I always want to go back, like I use like Perplexity because I want to go back to some sort of data that I'm not getting off in the weeds of like a claim. But Pinterest is even earlier in that search process. People are doing this
Mm-hmm.
in the dreaming. It's before they've even
Yes.
had the conversation with their partner, just like the wedding. Anybody here had a wedding that they
Yeah.
maybe or anybody planning for a wedding? They don't even have a partner. Anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not an uncommon experience of like, I've been thinking about this off and on my whole life, my dream house. So you're getting people very early in the process. Generally speaking, in marketing, and Misha can speak to this, like that means you have a really low client acquisition cost. But it's because it all falls out of the back of most people's funnels. They never stay in touch with these people because they don't have a system of like, how do I add value to somebody for 18
Mm-hmm.
months or for the
Yep.
10 months before they would ever reach out to and contact me. And so
Yep.
that's like where, yeah, whole other conversation. And then if you're trying to figure out, do I do this or not? Buy back your time has a really simple metric. It's a 4-to-1 ratio. You figure out your hourly rate anything that you could get for a fourth of your hourly rate, you can contract that out. I'm going to give us a caveat though as realtors because I heard that and I was like, I'm paying everything, right? I've got to actually be like using my time. If I don't have any appointments on a Saturday, then maybe I should cut my own grass, you know?
Yeah.
If I'm going to go lead gen or do
Yeah.
something with that, then fantastic. I can buy back my
Yeah.
time. Man, I love not working. I like hanging
And when
out.
it comes, yeah, and when it comes to making these investments, right, wise investments into your business, when we are delegating, when we are, delegation is the only way to scale, guys. You don't scale by not delegating your work. Can you delegate some of this marketing? Can you delegate some of these systems to get it done faster, more accurately? Yes. Look at your ROI, right? If I'm going to invest $1,000 for someone to run Facebook ads for me for a month, right? Okay, but how many leads am I generating from that? And then what percentage of them am I going to actually be able to convert? Am I up to date on my scripts? Like, you get what I mean? Like, this has to make sense. It has to work for you. You can delegate anything, right? You can hire the coach, you can hire the people to do it. But you have to understand where you are in your business, where you're trying to go, and what are the reasonable accommodations you need to make for yourself so that way you can get the best ROI. You can get your best capitalization off of all of this. If you are not at a place where you need to prioritize building a newsletter just for nurturing, that's okay. Right? Like sometimes we hear some of these trainings and everything sounds like, oh my God, yes, this sounds great. I want it. But again, look at where you are in your stage of business. Sometimes where you are, it's like, oh, this is going to be a great tool when I reach stage 4. I'm at stage 2. You pin it, right? Like I have a board in my office. It's called the parking lot. I have great ideas. I have great things I want to implement, but I put it in the parking lot because sometimes it's not relevant to where I am right now. It's still relevant information, but not relevant right now, which is another thing that I get into with my clients. You don't need to be on every coaching call either, because you're going to start taking in so much information, right? But when you really narrow down where you are in your job, in your process, in your career, in your business, and then you start getting on the calls that are going to be speaking very specific to where you are right now, that's going to really increase your chances that you're actually going to take that information and then go execute. When you're listening to a bunch of stuff that's not relevant to right now, you're not actually then executing on that information in live time. It's kind of just floating in your mind. And then you start going, oh my God, I feel like I'm not doing anything. I feel like I'm just getting all the information, right? There's agents that are sitting on calls every single day, all day. They're in training, 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 training. They haven't done a thing. You're not executing. So you're not seeing the momentum, right? ROI isn't just the money we're investing, it's our mental capacity. Am I sitting on a call for 2 hours in a training for something that I'm not going to implement because it's not relevant to my business? It's good information, but I could have been lead genning for those 2 hours. Prioritize things, guys. This is what I help my clients do every day. Get clear on where they're going, get clear on where they are.
I love this. This is fantastic. One of the reasons why I talk about frameworks is like I reason by analogy. And so why I tie it back to the 4 C's or something else like there is like when I have that context, I realize I'm doing this all the time, right?
Mhm.
And so even if I'm not doing that, and man, what did I take away from that? Okay, now I'm thinking more again about what kind of content, what are the questions I would have? That's what I start noodling on. That doesn't cost anything. And my suggestion for anyone watching this would just be the big takeaway here is people are actively searching for information online. And how could I just chip away at this one thing a week? Jot down some ideas, right? Because the one piece that's probably the most valuable in your backyard, Misha, Brandon Brittenham, right? Mailbox Money
Yes.
B,
He's right here in Salisbury.
right here in Salt Lake.
Yep.
What does Brandon do? So we had Brandon come on and talk to all of our leaders, and it really was a master class on EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system, and how he runs all these businesses and just
Mhm.
the really amazing like what he does and what he shows up in these businesses on and like that it's like a 7 level meeting and whatever. He said two things stood out. There's one thing that he still does in the business every single day because he can do it better than anybody. He writes a piece of content. He writes a hook. That's the one thing he's kept is like I write great copyright And the second thing he said is his biggest source of business is unpaid organic social media because he built a big following on Instagram, but it could be something like
Yep.
this too. And so the one I would just encourage when we're outsourcing everything is don't outsource your voice. Like
Yes.
even if your first draft is nothing you'd feel comfortable ever showing to anybody. I used to write papers for people in college. I would interview you. Tell me what you think about this book or this play or how you reacted to what is happening. Is, what do you find interesting about this? Then I can make it sound like you read it and you understand, here's the sources. And I could write in your voice if I had a good idea of what your perspective on this is. And so that's it. It's just you're honing your own perspective. If you do that, Julianne writes a newsletter for me that's pretty excellent, actually. Right? We spent
Yeah.
so much time articulating kind of what my perspective is. Cherie, what's your question? You can take us out.
I just wanted to say, first of all, kudos to Misha for saying, like, don't try to implement everything at once. Like, just store this in the back of your mind if you're not at this level. But as Misha was talking, it got me to think every lead gen tactic that we do, how does that get me to a full brick? Because
Yes.
if we're doing Pinterest and we're not getting to a full brick, then it is less likely that we're going to turn those conversations into contracts. So I think with everything we do, whether it's YouTube or events or whatever it is, how are we turning that lead gen tactic into a full brick?
What's a
That's
full
like,
what's a full
Yeah.
brick in our world, Cherie?
oh goodness. Okay, so Mr. Matt Megal, he has 6 things that he has us do. It is full name, email address, phone number, um, tagged as 36 touch. Um, did I say address? Physical address and market report. I think those are the 6 things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And once you have all 6 of those things, that person is considered a full brick. And then your like basic goal is to get your first, is it 500 full bricks or
yeah.
250 full bricks?
And those are so that's for someone to be a part of your database. That's
Mm-hmm.
in the predictable conversion, right? But typically, what's interesting about what we're doing here is we don't talk about this a lot. This is people that live in our lead side, not in our database side. So we may have just an email relationship with 1,000 people with like a 3% conversion rate or something. That'd be tremendous,
Mhm.
which would be an internet lead conversion rate who eventually schedule a consultation or something to enter into, hey, Sri, I want to talk to you. And then I could extract that information and turn them into the full brick. But if you haven't spent a lot of time on this paid lead or Facebook lead generation or SEO lead generation, we're going back to old school marketing, building a funnel,
Mhm.
top of the funnel, bringing them down and and then seeing what are those conversion moments. Misha, what are some last words you have for us here? We covered a lot of ground. Thanks for getting so tactical. I love
Yes.
that we got into Substack and Stand Store and Zapier. Like, I love when we can nerd out a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave you guys, with this. Pinterest is about the long game. Pinterest is not something where you're going to see that ROI in even a week's time. You want to track your analytics. This is about, like I said, building your authority. And there's different ways to use Pinterest where you would see faster conversions, but maybe not so much on the transaction side, right? We're talking coaching or affiliate ads and things like that. Um, you know, Figure out if it seems like it's a play for your business. I like to hit on different spaces, right? So I have my socials and I have what I do well on socials. Pinterest is something that can work in the background for your business. Um, One of the things I always say is when in doubt, hire out. There are people that are literally Pinterest marketers, Pinterest coaches. You can always book a consult call with me. I'm more than happy to talk to you guys. And do one thing well. Understand where you guys are, understand where it is, where's the gap, where you need support, and hone in on that thing, right? Don't try to
Okay.
do 50 million things. Do one thing well so you can get to the next level and scale. Thank you guys for being with me today. Thank you for inviting me in the room. And it looks like my socials and things are already up there. Feel free to reach out, email, text. I'm very easy to find, and I'm always happy to come back, talk more, or join other rooms. But I'm here to be a resource. And thank you guys for having me.
Misha, do you have 2 minutes?
I do.
Okay,
Yep.
I've got a question I should have asked before. What does, if I'm just gonna go start and I'm gonna go do this and I'm gonna chip away and once a week I'm gonna create a post, right?
Yes.
What does success look like on Pinterest? What's a pin that really did well? Like how much interaction am I like, oh yeah, I'm crushing it.
Yeah. So that's so subjective
Sure.
because it depends on what your goal is, you know? Why are you driving traffic to whatever that landing page is?
Yep.
Um, you definitely don't want to measure your success by views because views alone don't convert. Just because 1,000 people saw it, right, doesn't mean that they clicked it and opened it.
Hmm.
So for me, because my goal, the goal of Pinterest is to get them off of the platform, right?
Yep.
So for me, my success is not measured by how many people saw my pins, but by how many people clicked the pin or clicked the link. So looking at, say, Pinterest analytics and pairing that with like my Stand Store analytics, how many people saw it, clicked it, and now on the Stand Store side, how many people actually downloaded from that?
I
That's
love
how
it.
you're going to figure out your measurements, right? It's like a two-part system there.
Yep.
And that's just
It's
like one of the examples.
It's like tracking my calls, tracking my contacts, tracking my appointments. I've got
Yes,
to know
exactly.
those because those show me different things of where this thing might be breaking down in the funnel.
And where you're
Awesome.
losing people.
I crushed
Yeah.
it on the pin, but man, on the stand store, it wasn't compelling enough. I might have to work
Yeah,
on
they
that
didn't
traffic
actually
or that.
download it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
I love that. And then the other thing would just be, where would you get started? Like of all of those things, like do you have a suggestion for
Yeah.
maybe your entry?
Yep. Let me share that with you guys really quick. So there's your start today. Create a Pinterest business account. It's easy to do. Create 5 boards about your market. So, like I said, Ocean City, Maryland, moving to Maryland, real estate marketing, whatever you want it to be. And then just create 5 to 10 pins a week. Sorry, I've got one of my fur babies here. But 5 to 10 pins a week. And mind you guys, like you can use other AI platforms to like mass create. You can create one blog post and then have 5 to 10 different pins or graphics that are going to send to that one blog post or that one landing page or that one Stand Store download. So you're really not creating, it's not mass creation. And you can do this in an hour. Literally. You can get,
So this
this is easy stuff, guys.
And this is all part of if I have a brand and a marketing plan, like this should be,
Yes.
hey, great. I wrote a blog post that I wanted to talk about anyways, and it's part of my 36 touch this month. And I'm using Pinterest to drive traffic here. And I went and like created a video of me reading it as a reel. Like the highlights. I just had
Exactly.
ChatGPT turn this into a script for a reel for me, whatever. Like
Yes.
I don't have to, sometimes I'm doing the same thing when
Yeah.
when I have a real plan. I love this.
Yes,
Misha,
this is
this
really
was
important,
amazing.
guys. Yes, thank you so much. I will leave you with this, guys. You should have a brand strategy, whether that's a business brand strategy or personal brand strategy. Within that brand strategy is going to be a marketing plan. This is where you are looking for an expert, myself, whoever. Somebody that is something that you absolutely need because what Justin is talking about, understanding where you are, if you're not clear on your voice, on your tone, on your vision, if you don't have that brand strategy of how you're going to market, monetize, transact, if you don't have that big picture, you don't have your roadmap. And I believe every agent should have a roadmap, especially if you're in this for the long game. So thank you so much for being here. Here are my socials. That's my cell number. Feel free to reach out, text, shout me a girl, you did such a great job today. Thank you so much for that. I always love positive feedback and even some criticism if it's needed. I don't mind correcting. I've got tough skin. There's my email, guys. You can reach out to me, book a call with me, invite me back to talk some more. I would love to be here, and I've enjoyed each and every one of you today.
Thank you so much, Misha. This was fantastic.
Thank
All right.
you.